Come spend the day in the kitchen with me as I can some tomato sauce and just catch up with you guys. I recently got this tomato strainer for a project that I was working for over on Instagram, and I had to buy a 25-pound box of tomatoes for $8 at the farmer's market, and I didn't want them going to waste. I'd had them for a while now and they were starting to go bad, so I decided to work them up and turn them into tomato sauce and just have it as a pantry staple, and that way we can have them for recipe bases or just whatever I need. I have not posted on here in over a month now, but we have just been so busy with everything here on the farm, and a couple weeks ago Ben had to work some mandatory overtime, and it really set us back on projects that we're working on here on the farm. So this past week we just now got our field corn planted, and that is the corn that we raise for our animals every single year, and we still have not cut our first cutting of hay. Normally we have already had that done and it's already stacked and in the barn, but we are behind because of our tractor. If you followed along with us for a while, then you know that last winter we started having some problems with our tractor, and we knew that we were going to have to save our money so that we could have somebody else work on it, because we do not know enough about tractors to completely fix the PTO and the clutch and everything that was wrong with ours. So we got it sent off, and whenever we got it back, we were still having issues with it, not because of him, the guy that worked on it, but just because there was more things wrong with it than we originally thought. So we have been working on getting that fixed the past couple weeks, and we finally think that we have it fixed. So the next dry spell that we have got to cut our first cutting of hay. It is so tall and we are behind. We really need to get it cut and in the barn for this winter. Since I haven't been posting here on YouTube, I did make a post over on the community tab on YouTube and shared that I was going to start posting to my email list, sending out a newsletter every week or every other week, just to keep you guys updated throughout the summer, since I have to spend a lot more time outside and I just don't have the time to edit. So I have been sending out a newsletter, so if you want, you can go and subscribe to our newsletter. It'll be linked down below. And it's just an easier way to stay up to date with us. But so far we have not been working on the pantry at all. We have been spending almost all of our time, free time anyways, outside, working on the garden fence, working on the garden, just trying to keep the weeds under control. But just like us, I know that you guys are really busy in the summertime too. I've gotten a few emails from you guys talking back to me on the newsletter every week and just telling me all the things that you guys are doing, what you're growing in your gardens. And summertime is just meant to be spent outside. So I do not show up on social media or YouTube or just on the blog near as much as I do in the winter months, but I promise I will try and be better, and I try to dedicate as much time as I can to editing and stuff, but it does take quite a while, and sometimes I just don't have the time to sit down and edit. But I promise I will keep you guys up to date in that newsletter every single week. Along with trying to get everything ready for gardening season and canning season, we have been trying to figure out a solution for our water. Last year we bought a Berkey, and we like the Berkey water filtration system, but it just is not enough to get us through our canning days, because I like to do my canning in bulk, as you've seen here on my YouTube channel. So I'll spend all day long in the kitchen canning one item, and that does take a lot of water because I need it for my jars, I need it to put in my canner, and then also any cooking that I'm doing throughout the day for the food that I'm canning, I need that water also. And the Berkey just was not cutting it. So SimPure actually reached out to me about their reverse osmosis system, and I'm actually going to have Ben install that here in this video. But SimPure actually sent me one of their reverse osmosis systems that go under your kitchen sink, and we're going to be installing it a little bit different than it's recommended to install it, which I talked with them and they gave me the go ahead that we could install it like this. So we're going to be using it differently. The way that it works whenever you buy it online is it comes with a separate faucet, and they want you to plumb it in through a separate faucet. But this is a vintage cast iron sink, and it is actually a family heirloom, so it was Ben's great grandparents' sink. So we're not going to be creating a new hole, and I like my sprayer too much, so I don't want to get rid of it. So what we're going to do is plumb this into our existing system. It does come out slower because it's having to go through filters before it can come out and up and give you water. It is going to be slower, but I think it's going to be fine just because I'm used to always getting water out of the Berkey, no matter if I'm cooking, no matter what I'm doing. The only time I do not filter water is when I'm washing my dishes. But we're hoping this will solve our problem for canning this year, and that way it can just constantly run and all the water is filtered through. We can get it out of the sink and it's coming out steadily, because the Berkey, you have to wait on it to filter through at least until it's above the spigot, which that takes at least probably 20 minutes to filter, maybe 15, and you just don't have water for that amount of time. But then it doesn't filter quickly, if that makes sense. So I would say it takes a good hour, if not longer, to filter the 4.5 gallons. We just now got it all plumbed in, and we are going to trim up these hoses once we let it run a little bit and make sure everything works good. But we wanted to give it time to run first. But I wanted to show you how easy these filters are to change out. All you do is unlock this and the arms spread open and it just pulls right out. And there's just 3 prongs in there that they hook into. So it is super easy to change the filter, and that is... So this is Berkey water and that's SimPure water. So it came with a test, and we're gonna test it out and see how they compare. So of course this is at parts per million. So we're gonna test it out. Okay, the Berkey is definitely red. It says 191, so that is awful. Okay, I'm gonna clean this off so that I can get a good reading on the SimPure one. Okay, so I just cleaned it off, and now we are gonna do the SimPure water, which is this one. So turn it on. Okay, it's at 31, 32, right in there. So yeah, it is doing fantastic compared to the Berkey. The Berkey was 191. So that makes me feel a lot better about drinking our water here. So here are the test results. This side is for the SimPure. This side over here is for the Berkey. So you can see that it tested much higher than the SimPure did. So I am so excited to try out the SimPure, and I just feel like now I don't have to worry about it, because after I bought our Berkey, I seen a lot of articles on it that were just saying that it was like stating false claims and stuff, and I really didn't trust it, but I didn't know what else to do. What it looks like now after we got all the hoses trimmed down and stuff. And we did save the hoses just in case anything ever happens and we need them. But as you can see, it is very small and compact, and it has a very sleek design. So I don't even mind, because I broke my curtain that hangs here. So I need to get a new rod for it, but in the meantime, I don't mind it sitting under here and looking like this, because it doesn't even look bad. I like the design of it. But as you can see, this is your outlet water, your inlet water, and then this is your wastewater, and it goes right in the middle there. We did install a ball valve over here just so that we could shut it off if we ever needed to. Like, it just turns off this, so we can still continue to have our regular water if we need it. And that was also an addition just by us, and this is plumbed differently than what they recommend. So we did go about it differently, but it works, and I absolutely love it. So I did reach out to them and ask if I could get a discount code for you guys. So I'm going to top it out on the screen here, and I believe it makes it under $200, which is much cheaper than the Berkey. I'm pretty sure I paid almost $500 for our Berkey. And also the replacement filters for this are much cheaper. I'll top out on the screen for you guys how long each lasts, because one is a CF filter and one is an RO filter. So I'll top out on the screen how long they last. And the numbers that I'm going to top out on the screen, those are for a family size of 2 to 4. So if you have a bigger family, of course you'll need to change it more often, and then if you're just living by yourself, then it'll be less frequently. The only downside to this is that you do have to have electric, so we did have to put a power strip back here, but we needed it anyways because of the ice maker. And also you do have to have a plumber install this if you don't know how to do it yourself, which thankfully Ben was able to do it for us, and it was not hard. So I would honestly say that you obviously need some plumbing experience, but as long as you have some plumbing experience under your belt and you know the basics, you can do this. So You guys know that hard water is something that we have struggled with since we've moved here, and I've tried the Berkey and I thought I was doing good with it, but apparently not. So far we are loving the SimPure. We've used it for about a week now and I am thoroughly impressed with it. I feel like my mind is finally put at ease and I don't have to worry about our water anymore, and I feel like I can just go on about canning and not have to worry or fret about it anymore. If you have never canned tomato sauce, it is incredibly easy, and after letting the pot boil down to about, I would say a third of it was gone, maybe a fourth, and I just did that so that it would be thicker. You just want to get as much liquid out as you can. So I let it simmer for probably about 2 hours, and to each pint jar I added 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And you can also use citric acid or whatever kind of acid you want to add to it, but just top those off, and then you can add salt. I did not, but you can totally add salt. I think it's a 1/4 teaspoon for every pint, and then just let them water bath can for 35 minutes for pints and 40 minutes for quarts. But it is super easy, and tomato sauce is one of those things that I love to have on hand just because it is the base to any recipe, like whether it be chili, pasta sauce. It's so versatile. I was waiting on the tomato sauce to get done in the water bath canner. I decided to go ahead and make a body scrub. So I wanted to make a sugar scrub. So I like using brown sugar and ground coffee, but you do not have to use brown sugar. You can use regular sugar, and also if you have coffee grounds that you used already, you can use those instead of having to use fresh coffee grounds. I just didn't have any on hand, so I went ahead and used fresh coffee grounds and brown sugar, and then melted coconut oil and a little bit of vanilla. I didn't measure any of this. I mostly go by look and feel. You can customize this however you want. And I used to use the Tree Hut, I believe it was, sugar scrub, and I liked it. But then once I started making this at home, I fell in love with this, and it smells so much better, and you don't have to worry about all the junk that is in the sugar scrub. I like mine to be thicker, but if you want yours more smooth, then just add more oil. And that's what I love about this recipe most. It's not even really a recipe, but just this sugar scrub is you can customize it to whatever you want. You can add essential oils, you can leave out the coffee and just do brown sugar, you can leave out the vanilla. It is totally up to you, and you can make tons of different scents as long as you have the base. And you could just use regular sugar as the base if you just wanted one that was more neutral. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys will like and subscribe.